Hello, my name is Lua Hua. This is the very first video I've created, and in this episode, we are going to explore the basics of a famous philosophy centered on the art of letting go, one that I believe many of you have heard of or are familiar with, the Tao. Before I lead you into its story, I want you to relax your mind, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and clear your thoughts. You might choose to listen with your eyes closed until you drift off to sleep, or simply listen as a form of meditation. Let your stress float away and allow the story that follows to wash away any discomfort from within you. The Origin and Enigma of the Tao. The Tao is the very source from which Taoism takes its name, encompassing both the ancient philosophy and the religion that developed later. It is the most fundamental concept of all, occupying the sacred center of their entire existence. However, the Tao is inherently ineffable and sits far beyond the reach of human comprehension. Because of this, it is often described as being nameless, formless, and obscure. To talk about it, one must rely on contradictory metaphors and paradoxes. In fact, to speak about the Tao is to attempt to Tao it, an act that can never truly succeed, yet it is an attempt that must be made continuously if any teaching is to exist in its name. The organic order. If we try to grasp its nature, the Tao can be described as the organic order that underlies, structures, and pervades all of existence. It is organic because it is not driven by a conscious will. It is an order because it shifts and changes according to predictable rhythms and orderly patterns. To approach the Tao, one must leave reason and the intellect behind. It can only be intuited when a person becomes as nameless and as free of conscious evaluations and choices as the Tao itself. Transcendence and immanence. The Tao cannot be captured in ordinary language. Language, by its very nature, belongs to the realm of discrimination and knowledge, a realm that the Tao transcends. While language is a product of the world, the Tao is beyond it, no matter how pervasive or omnipresent it may be. Thus, the Tao is both transcendent and immanent. It creates and orders the entire universe, yet it is not merely a part of it. The relationship between Tao and virtue. A crucial part of the religious experience is the understanding that the Tao is always there, yet it must always be attained, realized, and perfected. It creates the world and remains within it as a seed of primordial harmony, original purity, and selfless tranquility. When the Tao is outwardly active, it manifests as virtue, an orderly, measurable power of vitality that supports and rectifies the world, filling life with the radiance of the Tao from deep within. While virtue can be practiced and followed to an extent, perfect virtue is too close to the Tao itself to be fully understood or practiced. To truly realize it, one must go beyond. Diversity of experience. All of Taoism centers on the Tao and its virtue, the ever-transforming power of vitality and its dark, brilliant source. Different schools, traditions, and individual practitioners have experienced this differently, organizing their rituals and theoretical frameworks accordingly. There is no single Taoism or a lone Taoist experience. Instead, there are patterns to be observed. Like the Tao itself, the experience is and yet is not. It remains hidden and only occasionally emerges from the shadows. 4 perspectives through sacred texts. To represent the various approaches to this difficult concept, we look at 4 specific texts from 3 different periods and schools: the Tao Te Ching, scripture of the Tao and the virtue, the oldest and most important classic of all Taoism, 3rd century BCE. It represents the ancient philosophical and speculative view of the Tao. The Tao Te Lung, on the embodiment of the Tao, a medieval exegesis from the 8th century. It is highly theoretical and scholastic, geared toward the needs of the religious practitioner and informed by religious belief. The Qing Jing Jing, scripture of purity and tranquility, originating from the Song dynasty, 960 to 1260, it represents the liturgical and devotional formulation of the Tao. It is chanted regularly in monastic settings. The Zhuangzi, a masterpiece of philosophy and literature, it uses stories, metaphors, and narrative events to clarify the Tao, representing a literary and metaphorical approach to this ancient enigma. Building on our previous exploration of the Tao, we now turn our focus toward the first and most vital of those 4 pillars, the Tao Te Ching, also famously known as the Laozi. This title honors its alleged author, a philosopher said to have lived in the 6th century BCE. Despite its immense influence, the text itself is remarkably concise, a short work of about 5,000 characters, structured into 81 chapters and divided into 2 major sections that deal with the Tao and the virtue, respectively. The verse of the Tao and the virtue. The scripture begins by addressing the very paradox we discussed. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. It teaches us that the nameless is the true origin of heaven and earth, while the named acts as the mother of the myriad beings. There is a specific way to perceive this. If you always remain free from desires, you can see its wonder. But if you always cherish desires, you are limited to observing only its outward outcomes. Both of these, the wonder and the outcome, develop together, yet carry different names. They are both parts of the mystery. The mystery and the emptiness. The text describes the Tao as mysterious and more mysterious still, the very gate of all that's wondrous. The Tao is empty, yet when you use it, it will never overflow. It is abysmal, acting as the ancestor of all beings. It has a profound quality that blunts blades, opens knots, joins light, merges with dust. It is so profound that it seems like something eternal. The author admits, "I do not know whose child it is," but notes that its appearance precedes even the gods. The final offering, the impartiality of nature. Heaven and earth are not benevolent. They treat the myriad beings as mere straw dogs. In the same way, the sage is not benevolent, taking the 100 families as mere straw dogs. The space between heaven and earth is likened to a bellows. It is empty, yet it never bends. It is active, and the more it moves, the farther it reaches. The text concludes with a piece of practical wisdom for the seeker. To speak much and repeat yourself is of no use. No, it is much better to guard the Tao within your midst. The origins of the scripture. While the concepts within the text are recognized as being quite ancient, the physical document we have today dates back to approximately 250 BCE. Our understanding of it has been deepened by the recent discovery of a manuscript copy dating from before 168 BCE. Because the author, Laozi, is a figure of legendary nature, scholars now assume the text is actually a collection of various sayings from ancient masters that were originally transmitted orally. Over the past 2,500 years, this text has been interpreted in a vast multitude of ways, as political advice, symbolic wisdom, cultural criticism, allegory, or even a collection of popular sayings. However, it is its religious reading that has maintained a profound and unwavering influence over Taoism throughout history. For those looking to study it further, English translations are incredibly abundant, with more than 100 versions in existence. Frequently cited translations include those by Whaley, 1934, Biner, 1944, Lin, 1948, Legg, 1962, Chan, 1964, and Lafargue, 1992. If you are looking for translations of the recently excavated manuscript, you can find them in the works of Lau, 1982, and Henrichs, 1989. For those interested in the academic debates surrounding the figure of Laozi, the works of Feng and Bode, 1952, Seidel, 1969, Kaltenmark, 1969, and Graham, 1990, are essential, while commentaries by Chen, 1981, Robinet, 1977, Bergeron, 1986, Chan, 1991, and Wagner, 1980, 1986, 1989, offer deeper insights. Tao Te King, Scripture of the Tao and the Virtue. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the origin of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of the myriad beings. Always remain free from desires, and you can see its wonder. Always cherish desires, and you can only observe its outcome. Both these develop together, but have different names. They are part of the mystery. The Tao, mysterious and more mysterious, the gate of all that's wondrous. The Tao is empty. Use it. It will never overflow. Abysmal it is, the ancestor of all beings. Blunting blades, opening knots, joining light, merging with dust. Profound it is, like something eternal. I do not know whose child is it. Its appearance precedes the gods. The valley spirit does not die. It is called the mysterious female. The gate of the mysterious female is called the root of heaven and earth. Forever and ever it exists continuously. Use it. yet you'll never wear it out. Highest goodness is like water. It benefits the myriad beings and never contends. By never contending, it is without fault. It rests in what the multitude disdain. Thus it is close to the Tao. Rest in goodness like you stand on the earth. Make your mind as good as the abyss is deep. Join goodness to become fully benevolent. Speak pure goodness for mutual trust. Be straight in goodness when you govern. Serve goodness as much as you can. Then you will move with goodness at all times. Look at it and do not see it. We call it invisible. Listen to it and do not hear it. We call it inaudible. Touch it and do not feel it. We call it subtle. These three cannot be better understood. They merge and become one. Infinite and boundless, it cannot be named. It belongs to where there are no beings. It may be called the shape of no shape. It may be called the form of no form. Call it vague and obscure. Meet it, yet you cannot see its head. Follow it, yet you cannot see its back. Grasp the Tao of old and control existence now. Know the beginnings of old and have a thread to the Tao. Moving forward from the ancient verses of the Tao Te Ching, we enter the medieval period to examine a more analytical perspective, the Tao Te Lun, or On the Embodiment of the Tao. This short scholastic treatise, identified as DZ 1035, fascicle 704, is a work that has not been studied or translated extensively to date. The scholar behind the text. The Tao Te Lun is commonly associated with Sima Chengzhen, 647 to 735, a figure of immense importance who served as the 12th patriarch of highest clarity, Shangqing Taoism. He lived during the height of the Tang dynasty under Emperor Xuanzang and was invited to the imperial court several times, making him the leading Taoist figure of his era. Sima Chengzhen left behind several other significant works that remain with us today, such as the Zhuo Wang Lun on sitting in oblivion and the Fu Qi Jing Yi Lun on the essential meaning of the absorption of energy. Both of these texts focus on Taoist practice, meditation, and longevity techniques. For those interested in deeper research, scholars like Cohn in 1987 and 1992, Engelhardt in 1987 and 1989, and Robinet in 1977 have provided extensive studies on Sima Chengzhen, Taoist soteriology, and other scholastic interpretations of the Tao Te Ching. The Embodiment of the Tao, a scholastic discussion. The Tao Te Lun functions as a sophisticated commentary on Lao Tzu's original scripture. It begins by explaining that the Tao is all-pervasive, transforming everything from the very beginning, while virtue arises in the following of that Tao, completing all beings to their end. In this way, birth and the completion of life appear. In our world, they are given two different names, yet as they fulfill their activities, they return to the same ancestral ground. They are described as being two, and yet always one. There is no Tao outside the omnipresence of virtue, and there is no virtue that is different from the completion of life through the Tao. They appear as two, yet they remain one. The Tao is found in endless transformation, while virtue shines forth in the completion of life. Being two in one, they are all-pervasive, and yet can be distinguished by their names, the Tao and the virtue. the beginning and the inner nature. The text then moves into a series of questions and answers to clarify these depths. When asked whose beginning the Tao refers to, the answer is the beginning of the inner natures of all beings. We know this because while the inner nature arises from the Tao, the outer body is brought forth by virtue. When questioned why the scripture says, the Tao brings them forth, virtue nurtures them, the explanation is that they follow the root and rely on the prime, the Tao, but because the body is established only gradually, the text uses the word nurture to describe the role of virtue. The nameless and the named. The discussion then turns to the root at the beginning of inner nature. Does it have a name or is it nameless? The answer is both. If it is both, why does the scripture prioritize the nameless? The Tao Te Lun explains that Tao is simply an expression for that which pervades all life. Because it pervades life, there are bound to be outer manifestations. Once these manifestations exist, we can name them, we can attach names to the Tao, but we must understand that none of these names are truly permanent. We use language today to dispel the engulfing obscurity of the Tao, but language only makes the rough outer manifestations appear more clearly. To truly awaken to the wondrous depths, one must go beyond language entirely. The Tao and beings, the fish and the water. The text further explores whether the Tao is the same as beings or different from them. It describes the Tao as always there, yet eternally other. There is a mutual dependency. Beings need the Tao to embody themselves, and the Tao needs beings to embody itself. Beyond the inherent oneness of everything, the world contains dualities, good and evil, right and wrong, life and death, opposition and conformity. To explain this relationship, the text offers two powerful comparisons: the fish and the water. A fish depends on water to live, but it also depends on water to die. People and the earth. People depend on the earth to walk on, but they also depend on the earth when they fall down, and again to get up. Finally, the dialogue addresses a potential contradiction. The scripture says, the Tao brings them forth, virtue nurtures them, but it also refers to the one who brings forth and nurtures as mysterious virtue. The question is raised, how do these two statements, one attributing creation to the Tao and the other to virtue, go together? That is all for part 1. Thank you so much for joining me and listening. May you have a peaceful and restful sleep. For tonight, I must bid you farewell. Good night.